Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Kid G, man. I'm sitting here with the man with the plan, Brenton, the co-founder of Mile High Minute. What's good, bro?
Appreciate you, man.
Coming and being involved in this. You know the What's Good, the Casual Convo. Been wanting to sit down with you for a minute since we did our interview. You know,
yes, sir. Yeah.
Thank you for the interview.
No problem.
Thank you. That was good. I got a lot of good feedback from that. I got a lot of good feedback, so I appreciate you for real.
That's dope, yeah. I took my time. I really put in a lot of effort on those questions, and I made sure you were highlighted in the right way. And I felt like, you know, you held off, understandably so, from doing an interview for a while. So I felt like if I'm going to do this, I need to do it the right way. I need to do it, you know, where it's going to answer a lot of people's questions, and it's going to highlight you as an artist and make people, you know, understand your impact on the hip hop scene in Denver and whatnot. So I appreciate you coming on the show, and you know that was definitely, as far as like Denver hip hop culture, one of the most like legendary interviews I feel like I ever did. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it was really dope. I answered a lot of questions that people didn't realize had happened to me or that I had went through, stuff like that. But no, man, this isn't about me. This is about you. Let's get to you for real. So, you know, obviously you started Mile High Minute. You know, can you just let us know, you know, how did that idea come up and what made you want to start Mile High Minute?
So it was back in like 2018. I was reselling clothes, shoes, and stuff like that. So, and I grew up listening to hip hop, so I was always, you know, a hip hop fan and whatnot. And then in 2018, I kind of got more hip to the hip hop scene out here. I was hearing the Trev Riches of the world. I was seeing the Heart in the Hills video. I was seeing my boy Young Fiji up in Boulder, and I'm like, man, there's actual talent out here, you know. And at that time, I'm listening to obviously all the mainstream, Drake, Future, Eminem, 50 Cent, whoever, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, whoa, we got rappers out here? Like, this is dope, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of like sparked an idea in my brain, like, okay, well, we got a bunch of dope talent, we got a bunch of dope artists, like, you know, where's the platforms? Because at that time I was really, you know, I loved watching Say Cheese TV, Vlad TV, Breakfast Club, Zach TV, rest in peace, like a bunch of different platforms across the US. And it kind of just, I was like, man, we could do that in Denver. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much how it started. I was in my room with a couple homies I went to high school with at the time, and I still have the piece of paper to this day. Like, it's dated and everything. I've posted it on social media before, and it just, you know, it's pretty much like the beginning idea of Mile High Minute just written down. So that's what it was. Yeah.
Who was the first person that you interviewed?
It was Young Fiji up in Boulder. Yeah, a lot of people aren't, you know, he had a good like underground run up in Boulder back in, you know, 2016 to 2020-ish, you know what I'm saying? So that's, you know, the first person. But there were some other people too. Trev was one of the first people I interviewed back at Rod Smith's mansion party back in the day. Like, there's a couple people, but Fiji was the first.
That's funny that you brought up that Rod Smith being at his house, because that was part of our interview.
Oh yeah,
about that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, Trev Rich, he's dope, man. Yeah, I listened to a few of his songs. I think he's pretty dope. So how many episodes are y'all into now? I mean, there's gotta be a grip, right?
I don't even know at this point. I know I've uploaded like over 1,000 videos on YouTube. As far as interviews go, we in the hundreds somewhere, probably over 200 or 300 if I had to estimate. But I don't keep track, bro. I just work.
Just keep it
I just keep pushing. You know what I'm saying?
I like that for sure. Yeah. So, what's one of your most memorable interviews that you did?
It depends on the aspect of it. Like, I feel there's a couple different ways I go about it. As far as like impact on me as a brand, it probably would be both my Sean Cotton interviews. I did one in 2019 and then one last year. Got the whole city riled up with that one. Even the Rainwater one, you know, that one got people pretty, you know, riled up. But the Kevin Gates one, that one was cool just because people really took me serious with that. Like, I just interview, you know, I'll be interviewing a lot of celebrities nowadays, and like I'll post them, and sometimes I feel like people are kind of used to it now. They're like, oh, there's Mile High Minute interviewing another big name, you know, so it don't hit the same. But when I interviewed Kevin Gates, it was like, that was like a big name, and I feel like people aren't used to it. at that time. They're like, you know, at that time it's more, just, you know, local talent, local artist stuff. But whenever Kevin Gates, it was like everyone sharing it, talking about it. And like, so if I had to name a couple, it would probably be those. Yours was dope. Man, there's been a lot. When I went to Marbello, VICUALS, he actually gave me the idea to tap in with Sav, Bellside Sav. Those ones were dope. So there's a lot, bro. It's hard to name one, but if I had to name, you know, a couple, probably those ones.
So you know, the first couple that you mentioned, you said that, you know, people got riled up about those ones. You know, what was some of the stuff that they were talking about on those ones?
Well, so the first time I interviewed Sean, it was actually real positive. Like, it was just, we're talking about real estate and different stuff. The second time, he got a little more animated, and you know what I'm saying? He was saying something like along the lines of, you know, if you're an artist in Denver and you're not traveling, you know what I'm saying, quit, pretty much. Just to keep it.
Yeah, I think
you probably seen
that. I did see that one. I don't know who he is, so when I see that, I was like, who's this? You know what I mean? And I know, you know, and you know, obviously in the streets, and of course, I talk to a lot of people, and I know that, you know, people were like, you know, why is he letting this dude disrespect Denver? It's the Mile High Minute type of stuff.
Right.
So, you know, what was your thoughts on that when people were giving you pushback on that? Like,
I mean, that's what comes with the game, but I said it, like when the interview dropped, I said, you know, I've been the dude to kind of push up everyone and highlight everyone and be positive, be cool. And I feel like a lot of times when you do that, one, you get taken advantage of, but two, like, it doesn't necessarily push the scene forward sometimes. It does, but there's other ways to push the scene forward as well. So I feel like the point of that interview and that clip really, and what Sean meant was he wasn't calling out anyone in specific. And even really, he said Denver because he was on a Denver platform, but he was really talking nationally. Like, that could go for any city.
oh, okay.
But he just did that to motivate, like, hey, bro, like, take it serious. You know what I'm saying? Did he say some things that were a little like, all right, chill out? Yes, for sure. But, like, you know, as far as the pushback, bro, like, I'm doing what I can to help push this culture forward and motivate, even if it don't off rip look like it.
Yeah.
If you really pay attention and you talk to me and you look at the deeper message or the deeper meaning behind the moves, you will see, like, okay, this actually is to help shine a light on the scene. Like, even Rainwater, he be saying some crazy stuff. He don't mean that. He be saying that about every city, but he be saying that about every city, but like what it does is, you know, it kind of motivates people, you know what I'm saying, to a certain extent. And, you know, it's understandable that some people may not agree with it. I get it, but that's kind of the point, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. You know, personally, you know, I didn't know who neither one of those dudes were. I mean, I personally just didn't know him. But when I did see that, I was like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? You know what I mean? I get what he's trying to say. Like, you know, you gotta push yourself and stuff. I just didn't like the approach. You know what I mean? But like I said, I don't even know who he is. So to me, it didn't really matter too much. You know, and then when we talked about it or whatever, and they're like, oh, you know, why is he letting him do this and that? And, you know, at first, I ain't gonna lie, like I didn't understand either. I was like, I don't know why you put that dude on there. But the more that I thought about it, the more that I realized is that, you know, for one, you're trying to bring attention to the city.
Exactly, shine a light on the hip hop scene.
And that's something that we all got to recognize, like, you know. And then the second part about it is that, you know, let's just face it. If I go put a post on Facebook, right, and I'm talking just all positive, it's probably going to get minimal views. You know what I mean? But if I go in there and be like, hey, yo, and start talking stuff or whatever, those are the ones that get, you know, all the views.
Attention,
So I get it in that sense, especially when you look at it from a business aspect. You feel me? So it's not like, you know, you're like, hey, I'm going to put this out there to take shots at people from Denver.
Exactly.
It's just, it's a business.
You
know what I'm saying? And so when I looked at it from that point of view, I was like, yeah, no, I get it. I get it. And I know you personally. You know, so and that's who I was telling, you know, a few of my close homies that were asking me about that. I was just like, nah, you know, he's a good dude, bro. And I guarantee you it wasn't nothing vicious. In the beginning, like I said at first, I was like, who the fuck is this dude? You know what I'm saying? So, and I mean, I'm sure he's you know, real popular or whatever.
Say Cheese, he's one of the biggest blogs in the world. He's a millionaire.
Yeah,
you know
I'm sure he's real popular and stuff. I just personally had never heard him, but yeah, no, that's dope, man. But yeah, thank you for clearing that up, because obviously That was a
Right.
big thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what, you know, kind of reminded me of was the list. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was another thing. Everybody was so upset about the
Right.
list.
Right.
And, you know, my personal opinion on the list, and I think we talked about this last time, was just like, man, just, you know, push yourself to be on that list. Push yourself to be on the top of that list,
Right.
you know, type thing. So, but yeah, man. So what you got going on for the future? What are some upcoming things that you got coming up?
Well, right now, we just announced the Mile High Minute Festival. That's happening on September 3rd.
Okay.
So we're doing that. Gonna have some dope talent headline from Colorado. You know, like I told you before, some people who I feel like haven't necessarily performed a lot in Colorado, but have a solid hip hop history. They're well respected. And, you know, we're gonna have openers on there too. So a lot of it too is to, you know, network and showcase a lot of the upcoming talent and give people an opportunity to tap in, you know what I'm saying, with Mile High Minute and network, and just overall like it's been highly requested for years. So, you know, I finally like pushed past my comfort zone a little bit and was like, all right, let's just do it. You know what I'm saying? So that we just started these drop mics. We're doing these live music reviews. So there's a lot of different things I'm kind of working on just to switch it up and be kind of new. But the interviews are always going to be there. The platform, you know, the promo is always going to be there. We're focused on delegation a lot and just kind of branching out and building a bigger team. That way, like, man, just that way, you know, we could have a bigger impact on the city. I feel like for a while I've been kind of running around doing a lot of the things, you know what I'm saying, and that's cool, but it's very time consuming. It's a lot, so that's kind of what I'm working on right now.
And that's, you know, that's why I really appreciate you taking the time to come and being a part of What's Good with Vic and I. And,
yeah, no problem.
And, you know, doing this because I know you're busy, but we appreciate it because, you know, you're always on the other side of the questions.
Yeah.
So I felt like this would be a good interview, you know, and, you know, also for you to be able to kind of get some of the stuff out that you wanted to get out.
No, for sure.
Now, when you talk about the show that you got coming up, you know, if somebody wants to be involved and maybe be a sponsor or any of that type of stuff, you know, where should they reach out to you at?
Mile High Minute on everything: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
Okay.
Gmail. And I'm glad you brought up that too, because that's another thing I'm working on. I've kind of lacked and kind of pushed off. So that's why I'm also trying to delegate so I can, me as the CEO, handle bigger things like that, like partnerships and things of that nature. But yeah, you can reach out anywhere, you know, to get involved. And this is, you know, this is gonna be the first one. So you know, we're planning on making this a yearly thing and just make it bigger and better, you know, for years to come. So
that's good.
So yeah.
So yeah, y'all heard it, man. So if you got a business or anything like that, and you want to be a sponsorship, make sure that you reach out to them, because this, like he said, it's going to be the first one. It's going to be an every year thing. So this is a good time to get in with them and start, you know, planting them seeds. So
thank you.
Yeah, for sure, man. Now we appreciate you. I know that sometimes it's hard to see it. You know that you know, sometimes there's just and I'm sure like in the comments and you know you see a lot of like negativity.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm in the streets, bro, and you know, yes, there are people that don't understand. But I feel like there's people out there that respect what you're doing. And really, and that's kind of what I want y'all to know is like, you know, there's not a bunch of platforms out there that are trying to uplift Colorado artists. You know what I mean? So when you do got somebody like Brenton in the Mile High Minute, or even Vic with the What's Good or whatever, you know, y'all take advantage of that, support that. It's like, it's one of those things, like, you know, even with like recording artists, you know, local recording artists, like people, they'll go see these other shows, they'll go, you know, do all this stuff, or if it's somebody from out of state, but when it's somebody in state, they're like, you know, I might not go, I might not show support.
I knew Bobby Schmo.
You know
I knew him in high school. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, and I do feel like that is kind of like that. And you know, if I can give any advice to some of these younger artists is like, make yourself, you know, limited. You know, if you're every weekend at the bar or all this and that, and everybody, they're like, man, I'll just wait till next weekend to see this dude. You know what I mean? So make yourself, don't put yourself out there so much. Like, make it
balance.
Exactly, balance that stuff, you know, and then that way when you do pop out, it's exciting that you're popping out and stuff like that. So you know,
I love that you say that. Sorry, you can go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, but I mean, that's just, it's for real. I mean, because, you know, and I learned that a long time ago. You know, if you're, you gotta make people want to come and see you, for one. And if you're just always out there, you see you like all drunk at the bar or whatever, they're like, man, I'm
Right.
trying to go see this dude and stuff like that. So, but anyway, so you know, as far as the Mile High Minute, I mean, you mentioned that you're building up a team right now. Who are some of the people that you're collaborating with and working with?
So right now, my boy Chauncey, he down in Pueblo, he helps with a lot of the social media management and like just promoting artists, pushing artists, focus more locally. I got my boy Clarence, who's actually in ROTC, so he's taking a break for a month. But he's kind of our clipper, so he clips up our content, and that's why you've been seeing a lot of older interviews posted and whatnot lately, because he's been kind of backtracking and doing that, because I haven't had no one to do that, you know.
Yeah.
And then I got another business partner who we just actually I just finished training this week, who's going to be focused on more national news and like national hip hop. You know, I told her like 50% hip hop, you know, a certain amount national news, and then a little sprinkle of Colorado in here, because me and Chauncey kind of got the Colorado news and stuff like that on lock. But if you could kind of help bridge that gap between these other states and, you know, the stuff that, to be honest, I just don't have the time to cover anymore like, you know, I used to. So there's that. And then video editors, I'm partnered up with a lot of people, you know, I outsource content to, you know, Vic at times. Man, Sean Asakura, man, who else? I've worked with so many people, A1, Lazy, I need that Trevor Rich interview back. I'm just teasing.
You know,
but
actually,
just a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, that's great. And you know what I like is that
my bad.
no, but for real, what you know, what I like is that you're taking this. You're not just keeping it just a local thing.
Facts.
You know what I mean? You're actually building a business out of it, and that's great.
Right.
Especially, you know, you coming from Colorado, and that's another thing that I wanted to ask you, because I know a lot of people. They're like, he's not even from Denver.
Yeah.
I'm like, first of all, what does it matter? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But yeah. So can you just explain a little bit about that? Like, you know, where are you from? You know, and this and that.
So I was born in Hawaii.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I'm like, okay, you from Hawaii? Okay.
No,
You know?
no. It's just, I see it. People,
You know?
people said I'm from Montana, Wyoming, or anyway.
Yeah.
I was born in Fort Collins, northern Colorado.
Okay.
That's where I was born. I lived there for, man, like 3 to 5 years. Well, I was a baby. I don't really remember it. I'm a diehard CSU fan, but
Okay.
that's where I was born. I was raised. I then moved to Wyoming for like a couple years. When I was a baby, like a kid, I barely remember that. Lived in Reno, Nevada for a year, and that a lot had to do with my parents and, you know, what was going on there. And then I moved to the Denver metro area when I was 8. So I lived in Thornton, right off 96 in Huron, in the Prairie Green condominiums. The content's out there. I've you know, done interviews there. And, you know, I lived there for like 5-6 years. And then I moved to Arvada, and I moved to the Castlegate Apartments off 84th and Wadsworth. Lived there for my middle school and high school years. And then ever since then, bro, like I've lived across the metro area, from Denver to Aurora to Wheat Ridge to Westminster to, you know, Broomfield, like you can name it, you know what I'm saying? So, am I, you know, I didn't grow up in like a specific Denver County neighborhood, no, but I grew up in the Denver metro area.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, personally, I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like, it doesn't really matter to me, but I just know
It's a way for people to discount or discredit
what
me
you
as a
know,
platform. Yeah.
You know, so I'm glad that we spoke about that, just so you know, the people that try to, you know, hate on that, you know, now they know.
Yeah.
No, he actually was born in Colorado, and who cares if he moved out of the state? You know, it's not like anybody out there. I mean, maybe some of y'all, but it's not like somebody just was born into one house and lived there their whole life.
Right,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I know I definitely did. We moved all over and we talked about that.
Yeah.
So. But no, I appreciate that.
If you want to say I claim an area, and I don't gangbang obviously, but like it'd be the North Metro area, Thornton and Arvada. That's where I grew up at.
Lived up mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah, lived mostly. man.
I'm wearing a Cowboys hat too.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm a Cowboys. Yes, I
We
know.
should have brought that in.
Yeah,
So then why you wearing the Cowboys hat, homie?
So my dad, because that's another thing. My dad was a Cowboys fan, and he's from Lincoln, Nebraska, and he lived in LA growing up. So then he met my mom here in Colorado.
Okay.
But he grew up in Nebraska. They don't have a professional team, so he became a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
So then I grew up just watching Cowboys. So
cool.
there's that answer too, because I know.
Yeah.
That's another way to.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, we can,
We leave that in there.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, but, I just want to say, man, like, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing because, yes, there's always going to be people who hate, but there's also people that appreciate what you're doing and what you're trying to do. And, I feel like any times somebody got an idea or they try to do something and there's always going to be somebody who's like, this or that, but you're actually doing it, bro. You got even my son, when I told him that I was going to be doing that interview with you, he was like, on the Mile High Minute for real? And I'm like, yeah. So, and I was like, you know that? He was like, yeah, I know that. So, that was pretty eye-opening to see. I'm like, oh, okay, well, shit, this is bigger than what I even thought it was. My younger son knows about it. So, so that's dope, bro. But as far as, now I'm starting to lose track on, I don't know what else to ask you, bro. Like, you already kind of.
My bad, yeah.
That's good.
What other questions should we?
Make them do the box full of motherfucking questions.
It's a box full of motherfucking questions, no bitch.
All right, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna go ahead and it's all good. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do the box full of motherfucking questions. All right. So we're gonna go through this a little bit, and I'll have Brenton go ahead and just pick it
So
out.
just don't look and just grab one.
Pick one out, and let's see what we come up with.
Okay.
What we got in the box of motherfucking questions?
Top 3 music albums of all time. Damn,
Okay.
That's a good question. Off rip, I'm gonna say 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. That was definitely just foundational hip hop album for me off rip. I'm gonna say probably that Drake and Future, What a Time to Be Alive in 2016, just because I was graduating high school at that time, and it was like every song on that album was a hit to me personally, you know what I'm saying? So that's 2. What would be a third one?
There's so
I'll
many.
say, there's so many. I'll say that it's probably a basic answer, but I'll say that Nipsey Hussle Victory Lap. I'm gonna say it like this though. When it first came out, I wasn't all the way hip, and like I listened to the big songs that everyone listened to, but it was like cool. But as years went on and I did more research and I really listened to the whole project, I was like, man, like I see why he had such a big impact in the rap game, because it was just like such a beautiful album, and like it's good music for the soul. Like it's motivational, it's good in the gym, like it's good everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I would say those 3. So Get Rich or Die Trying, What a Time to Be Alive, and Victory Lap.
Okay. Let's choose one more. I'll choose it this time though.
Yeah, go ahead.
You cheated on that one. I'm playing. All right, go ahead. Try that one.
Don't play no blank around me. Don't play no. This is tough. Man.
Call them out, bro. No, I'm just saying.
Does it have to be like a big artist that like everyone
It
that?
could be anybody.
You don't gotta be music. Don't play no bullshit. Like don't be. You know what I'm saying? Don't play no games. Like it don't gotta be music.
Look, all right. I how do I word this? I'm not a hater, so like I respect how it got popular, but do not play that Northern Cali the Northern Cali drill sound. I don't know how to describe it. I'm just so over that sound, bro. Like I just can't, bro. Like I never could get into it. There's some talented artists, but like especially when the artists out here be trying to do that, I'm like, bro, like I do not want to listen to that sound, bro.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, that's what these questions are about, just to get your honest opinion,
I cannot do that sound, bro.
Yeah, no, you can't mess with it, huh?
Like if you have like influences or like You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying the whole Northern Cal, because I love a lot of Northern Cali music. I've interviewed a lot of Northern Cali artists, Rico, Too Smooth, the Jay Stallions, etc. But like just that drill sound from there that's new, it's just like some, like, bro, that's so evil. Like I'm too old to listen to that shit anymore, bro.
Yeah, I got you. I'm trying to picture the ones you're talking about, because that's why I'm so silent, because I'm like, well, we grew up on all, the Mac Mall and the T-shirt, all that.
It's the newer,
like,
yeah.
Okay, so it's like the newer type stuff?
Yeah, like the drill. Well, there was a situation that happened over in last fall, there was a shooting in like Stockton, bro. And it involved some rappers there, but it was at a kid's like birthday party, bro. Like, it was so devastating to hear about, and like, it's just like frustrating, bro. Some of the stuff they rap about, bro. I'm just like, bro, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I'm getting too
so
old.
with that, I mean, I can definitely agree with that. And that's something that I feel like artists too, man. And I tell like a lot of my younger homies, like, just find your lane, bro, because like, don't try to do what everybody else is doing.
Facts.
Stuff like that. And we actually kind of talked about this on our interview too, but it's just like, how many people can you actually kill, on a record?
Right, yeah.
So, so I get that. And, and I do feel like a lot of the Latino artists, are just still glorifying that type of stuff. And I get it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Especially when you're younger. I mean, even me, like, when I'm driving, like, I'm listening to that stuff. So if
I'm in the gym, I listen to drill.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I get it. But yeah, I do wish that more Latino artists would take a different path that time. Maybe don't change it all up totally, but maybe do some other things that maybe ain't the same.
Right.
The same old, if that can make sense.
Yeah, I just think that style and sound is kind of dying off. Like, I feel like there was a wave. It really started out of state. It popped off in Chicago and stuff, and then it kind of transformed and made new sounds in different cities and states. And it's just kind of like, and it's just like, you might get quick instant views, but like, there's no longevity in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Like, but you pull up and play this at your family.
No.
So, like at a wedding or something, or whatever. So no, I get you.
But it's also taken me to get older and like more experience in the game to realize that. When I first came out, it was just like, what's hot? Oh, this is dope. This is music. They're just telling their story too, to a certain extent. So it's understandable. Yeah. But and that's why I don't hate on them either. But it is just like, I don't know.
And that brings up another point. Is just like when these rappers are talking about that or going back and forth at one another, that's something that I don't like. You know what I mean? Right. I'm just like, man, like we should be trying to help each other, trying to push each other, uplift each other. But when they're going back and forth at each other, I honestly, me personally, I won't even listen to it, because I'm just like, man, I ain't trying to hear that.
Right. Yeah.
Like I want to support them and I want to do this and that, but I ain't trying to support violence when it comes to anybody, just across the board, but especially when it's like to see, a Chicano kid going at another Chicano kid, or Latino, or however you want to put it. Like, I just don't rock with that. So, I can see that for sure.
Right.
But, well, I really appreciate you coming out, bro, and doing this interview with us. You definitely made a huge impact in Colorado. I hope you continue to do that. I hope that your business that just flourishes, and that you get all these artists and all this different stuff that you're trying to do, and all the people that you're working with. I hope that you're mad successful at everything that you do. I appreciate you personally. You know what I mean? Like I said, I know you. You know what I mean? So I have a different view of you and what you're doing, versus maybe somebody that just kind of is watching from the outside. Right. And so, I'd appreciate it, if you all would, take some time to really understand what he's trying to do. Go back through those videos, watch all his different stuff, and see the impact that he has had on the culture. Yes, there might have been some stuff that was controversial, like the list, or some of those dudes that were talking stuff, but it's not like he was personally getting on there saying, hey, Colorado needs to do this or that. I mean, he's just interviewing the person.
Right. It's so not my opinion,
just keep that in mind, y'all. And again, for all you businesses out there, when it comes to that show, make sure that you reach out to them and get those sponsorships going. We're going to definitely pull up to that too. So I know we've been talking about that, but yeah, just We appreciate Mile High Minute, everybody who's involved in that. We appreciate Vic for doing the West Good and all that stuff.
I'm talking shit.
And then, so the last thing we're gonna do, all right, and this is one thing that we always do. So we want you to look in this camera over here. And we just want you to talk your shit, man. You know what I mean? Like, whatever you gotta say, it doesn't matter what it is, who it's to, or what it's about. Just anything you gotta say, we want you to go ahead and let them know.
Well, now I gotta think. Like, what should I say to get them riled up in the comments? No. Well, I'll just say, first off, I appreciate the positivity and the flowers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I feel like as a journalist, you get a lot of. It's hard to make friends. You know what I'm saying? Because like you gotta be neutral and like I just was on the phone yesterday with a rapper out here because I posted something and I'm telling him, hey bro, like I gotta be neutral. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the thing about being neutral is you're not too far left or too far right, so you're gonna piss everyone off a little bit. Like you're not gonna piss everyone off too much, well, some people, but like you kind of just piss off everyone a little bit across the board, you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know, I just feel like, I hope people understand that, you know what I'm saying? And as far as like the comments and, 90% of it's love, so I appreciate that. And I'm at a point where I just try to ignore the BS and, you know what I'm saying? As far as like, I don't know, you talk about, you got to give me a question or something to talk about, some topics or something, because there's so much, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's all good.
I mean, you talk about the 400,000 dollars recently, people was talking about that, you know what I'm saying? First off, I don't even know how that number came up, but like, I don't know, bro. Like, I've done so much work for the love, and I still do, and I genuinely love this. But I feel like it's proven. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, about to have a second kid on the way. Like, the bills need to get paid. Yep. You know what I'm saying? This is a job. I'm sure y'all understand.
It's a business, bro.
It is a business, and the other thing is too, bro. Is like, I've told this story 100 times, but like I slept in my car for this, making no money at first. Like I genuinely was just pulling up people's neighborhoods, doing interviews, just trying to make an impact, and I never gave up. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of people see all the promo prices or the this, that, and the third, and it's like, bro, y'all was not there, not you guys, but just people in general, like that be naysaying, like you was not there when like I was sleeping in my car, bro. Like, I'm about to get emotional. Like, I don't think people understand, bro. Like, I could have easily, like, I did have a job, but I could have focused on that full time, and I was still in school at the same time. Like, I could have just been like, you know what? I'm gonna just do this job and, like, live good or live better. But I purposely chose to sleep in my car because I knew if I just grinded this out for this moment and decrease the amount I'm gonna have to pay in bills, like, in the long run, it'll all pay off. So it could be frustrating when, like, all right, it's paying off, but now you still get people who, you know what I'm saying, say the craziest things. But you also understand, like, you get to a point where who cares?
Exactly, and I'm glad that
you know what I'm saying.
Point.
Like,
I'm glad you're at that point, bro.
Like, who cares what people say? If anything, it kind of helps, to be honest. Like after bros going on the rants on the internet, a bunch of people start hitting me about promo. To be honest, but
well, that's what I was saying. Though. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. When it's yes, we definitely want that positivity and this and that, but let's be honest. Like the world, where the world's at right now, it's they feed on that negativity. Right. It's almost like if they're looking for that. They're looking for that negativity. So and as far as old boy, either one of them dudes, for real. My what I would say to them is like I understand what they're saying. But I just wish that they would have did it in a different way. You know what I mean? And maybe instead of just trying to like call people out, maybe give them some advice, like how to get out of constructive criticism.
Right.
That's what I would say. My response to that would be is just like, instead of just trying to talk down on people, maybe you should have been trying to help lift them up.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That would be my thought on that. But
Yeah.
nah, man, you know, you're a positive role model in the community. You know, as far as you going through what you went through to get to where you're at, you know, man, I salute you for that, bro, because a lot of people would have gave up.
Oh yeah,
A lot
for
of people
sure.
would have
Yeah.
gave up. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm trying to tell these people. Like, you know, you're trying to help put the city on, bro. You know what I mean? You're trying to help do things. And, you know, so a little bit of controversy here and there, that ain't never gonna hurt nobody.
Right, yeah. And I know what lines not to cross.
Yeah.
Like if people have sent me like diss videos and they're name dropping people and I'm like, bro, I'm not posting that.
Yeah.
I know now, okay, if it's some rap stuff, like I'll post it, you know.
Yeah.
But like if it gets past that, like I know where to play and what not to do, you know
Yeah,
what
like
I'm
I
saying?
ain't trying to get some shit really popping off
Right.
because of this. Yeah, no, I got you.
And I also feel like there's a lack of understanding as far as like what'll happen is artists will try and compare themselves to me, like as far as, yeah, I'm a blogger, they're an artist, but as far as like an occupation, they'll feel like entitled, like, okay, how come he's making money doing this business, blah, 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 but like I'm not. They might not say that, but that's the vibe I'm getting. And it's like, well, this ain't my part-time job.
Right.
You know, this ain't my, and there's no disrespect to anyone that it is, you know, because everyone has a different bandwidth, but this isn't my hobby where I just do it for fun, you know, here and there, you know what I'm saying? This is my full-time business operation that I'm investing into, my time, energy, money. Like, this is not, like, we cannot compare, and I don't mean that in like a belittling way, but in a way of like occupation, like someone may go work their job and do their artistry on the side, that's cool, and they do certain things for free, you know, that's cool. Don't compare it to my business that I spend 50, 60 plus hours a week on grinding and you know what I'm saying, whatnot. And I feel like there's a disconnect there sometimes. And also just, I'm talking my stuff.
I'm glad that you're saying that because, you know, I think it's important for people to understand that, you know, this is a business.
Right.
So yes, you're charging for your business and what you're doing for the advertisements or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And I don't care where, they can't go anywhere. You can't just go to a major magazine or this and that and say, hey, put my stuff in there. And like they're just supposed to
no
do
value,
it. Nah, you know what I mean? And if there was a place that, or a magazine or something that was doing that, then there is no value in that, you know, because probably nobody's looking at that magazine or whatever. But no, I don't think you have to try to justify any of your prices or anything like that. And in my personal opinion, you know, it's well worth it. You know what I mean? Because your brand just isn't in Colorado anymore, bro. You're really starting to expand. You're blowing up, like you said. You're getting all these famous people on there, and you're doing all this stuff. So, no, man, you just keep doing what you're doing. I feel like you are definitely. You know, when it comes to the city, I think that you are definitely a huge influence. And, you know, maybe these other younger people that maybe they don't want to be rappers. Maybe they want to be, you know, a journalist or whatever, you know. And so this is kind of showing them that, hey, they can do that too. You know? So, no, man, you just keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you for real.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's all love over here. You know, another episode of What's Good. Brenton, Mile High Minute, Kid G, Pure Devotion. Y'all tune in. Peace.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Oh, yeah.